Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage podcast. Appreciate everyone coming out, checking us out today. Today, thankfully, Karen has been kind enough to bless us with some of her time. So I'll kick it right off to Karen, kind of let her tell you guys a little bit about herself and her business as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Smith, a name that's very easy to remember. Karen Smith, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The name of my brokerage is First Candor Realty. That's a number one ST, Candor, K-A-N-D-E-R Realty. We service the New York area and Georgia, as a matter of fact, but most people are not really aware of that. I service from all the way upstate New York, which is the Albany area is called the Capital Region, all the way down to Suffolk County. So the boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, whatever. I am a boutique brokerage, and I started off in the business. I was first on the financing side of things. So you want to ask me, or do I just kind of jump ahead? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're great.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. So how I got started. I know our time is limited. So I'm a little anxious. I'm kind of just getting in there and filling all the holes in.
No worries,
So basically, how I got started, I've always been on the other side of the table, technically, to where I was on the mortgage side. I was a mortgage broker, and then I went and became a mortgage banker. I had my own bank for many years. And when the market crashed during '08, then I started kind of exploring and tinkering with the idea of becoming a realtor. It didn't happen right away. I was kind of pushed into it. People were always asking advice about homes and so forth like that. And the industry, I was more working on modifications and so forth. So I kind of backed into it. I took a chance and I got my license. And then I said, I don't really know if it's the right fit for me, because even buying a home for myself was frustrating. I didn't have the patience. It's like I would tell a realtor, show me 3 houses. I'm going to make sure I decide on one. I don't have the time to go back. If I had no patience showing houses. So I didn't think that showing a house would be what I would actually enjoy doing. So I took the test and I waited an entire year still contemplating back and forth. Am I going to be a realtor? Am I going to be a realtor? Then when I actually showed my first house, oh my gosh, it was like love at first sight. I never expected that. It was the best feeling I ever had. And I said, oh my gosh, I've been in the wrong industry this whole time. I was being a banker. I could have been in the real estate business all this time. And it was just so fun, because it's like I love what was gratifying on the mortgage side is that people are entrusting me with their financial life, and I'm allowing a lot of their first opportunities, like first time home buyers, would come to me and I would turn their dreams into reality. And so now I'm on the other end, that I'm actually locating that dream house or that starter home or that vision where we're attaching like their wants and their needs, and we're actually finding it together. So it was really it was gratifying, even more so on that end. So I've been on both sides of the table. I'm still very versed and active in the mortgage world, because that's like 35 years of my existence. And, yeah, and I've been a real estate broker now for say 11 years. After I decided this was a passion. I got really excited about it. In about 5 months, I sold 16 houses, and I just kind of blew it out the water by myself. No experience per se, no broker support, because the broker I was working with, he was licensed in New York, but he had no experience of how to sell houses in New York. He had no forms. I really had nothing, no MLS, no support. Just like one man on the island by myself. It was like I had to figure it out. Yeah, I figured it out, and I muscled through, but it was the passion at that time that allowed me to muster through. I never thought about, let's say, having a branch in, being a big conglomerate, or even working towards like having other agents abroad. That happened by default as well.
Oh, really?
Every time I sold someone a house and walked them through the whole process, we had such a synergy and a connection that they were like, you know what, Karen, I think I want to do this too. Could I come and work along with you? Would you help me get my license? And I was like, yeah, I never really thought about that. I was like, okay, yeah. So it just started happening. And then people started coming aboard. And the only regret that I have with that is that I had hired at the time, or brought or onboarded a lot of individuals who were part-time realtors,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's really not the best thing for anyone that's starting out, because when you have part-time realtors, most of the time it's part-time mentality.
Yeah. Oh,
That
yeah.
drive is not
Absolutely.
really there. And it just so happens they all had like really good careers. So this was kind of like shopping money, side money. So,
Yeah. On money.
yeah, miscellaneous bucket, or whatever. So it wasn't, and they didn't really understand the amount of resources and time and how much you have to actually invest in yourself. So it really didn't work out to the best. There was a few that actually kind of, crawled a little bit and walked and jogged, and everyone that parted, we all parted with the best, understanding that that's the nature of the business. You start here, then you end up here, and it's like a frog, jumping from lily pad to lily pad. Eventually, you get your own brokerage, or you decide it's not for you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Yeah.
and tell me a little bit about New York and Georgia. I know I've had quite a few people in the New York market, mention that it's very different. It's not really similar to a lot of other markets in the United States. So how do you kind of deal with that? Being in New York and Georgia, I'm sure we get very different clientele. I'm sure we have very different deals. Obviously I know
Very
on the back end
different.
has to be very different as well.
It's very different. Okay, now here's what's interesting. New York State is so big, and it's like if you divide it down the middle, upstate New York, where my principal office is almost equivalent to being down south as far as down south rules. The city is like the wild, wild west, the boroughs. They're like their own kind of animal, where
Oh,
the
really?
attorneys put together the contracts for the realtors in the city. So the bottom half of the state, the attorneys actually handle that. The top half of the state, the realtors. So then I learned now that, hey, oh, I'm the one that's putting together the contract. So it's almost like a gray area before the lawyer gets involved. It's like we're kind of constructing and putting the deal together legally, but then the lawyers officially bind it at the end, but we start the process of the contract, right?
Yeah.
Where the city, we just write an offer, send it in, and the attorneys take care of all that contractual stuff. So in Georgia is the same, like upstate. But what I love about Georgia, it's a little bit more aggressive, but aggressive more to the benefit of the agent. And what I mean by that is it's like if you have a contract on the contract in Georgia, if it says the deal is going to close on April the 23rd, you can almost write your bills for April the 23rd, because that deal's going to close April 23rd, maybe April 24th. Okay.
That's my birthday is April 24th. That's too funny.
Oh my
That's the
God,
random day you picked.
it's so
That's too
funny.
funny.
Okay. Great. So that's how you can, it's so ironclad. When you ask for an extension in New York, we ask for an extension, we're thinking we're getting like 30 days customarily. It's like, no, they're saying, okay, we're going to give you 4 days.
Yeah.
In the South. So I love that because it makes everyone just perform their best. You have to really respect the time that this takes to bring these deals together. And if you're ready, we're ready. Like, do what you have to do, fight to get to that finish line. It's a certain, it's a different level of structure. I don't want to say the word discipline, but I like that, because a New York City deal can drag on for 3, 4, even 6 months.
Oh, geez.
You'll be on the soup line,
Yeah.
so it actually requires a lot of about understanding your market,
Yeah.
and stay
Absolutely.
off the internet, stay off
Right.
of TikTok and all these unrealistic shows that have you empowered thinking, yeah, this show up and make $1 million, and not
Yeah.
saying that couldn't
Million
happen.
dollar listing. I know it's a big one.
Yeah, and not to say that it couldn't happen, but it's like there's such a huge influx of realtors now in this market, and a lot of people, it's good to be inspired. I'm glad that something has inspired them, right?
Absolutely.
But you've got to be able to know to see it through, like anything else. You've got to plant the seeds and then watch it grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and to get on to the kind of any challenges that you might have faced. I know starting in the market, about 10 years ago or so, we missed the, the big kind of a downfall in 2008. So at least we didn't have to go through that. But what kind of challenges have you faced, in the past decade or so, as you've, started your brokerage and continued to own and operate it there?
Well, what's funny is that I was actually, because the market at that point, like you said, it was like totally opposite of what it is now. The foreclosures were so like abundant, people were losing homes and so forth. So I was actually negotiating a lot of short sales, and short sales are basically if someone's losing their home and the bank is willing to take a lesser number. I was representing a lot of those situations or whatever and selling to investors, anyone that wanted to buy cash or give the highest offer per se is who I was representing at that time, more or less. So that kind of kept me busy negotiating and so forth with the banks for a minute. And then when I moved up here, upstate, I didn't know one person up here. Okay.
Oh man.
So that was so weird. I went to the realtor to locate a house. And as I'm speaking to the real estate guy, really great guy, shout out to George Tomaselli. Um, that's how it all kind of started for me. He put me in contact with his broker. He says, you know what? I think my broker would want you to come work for her. I said, no, 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 I'm not looking for a job. I'm just, looking to get this house or whatever. The house thing worked out, but he kept on me like, you need to come speak with my broker. I really think you should come and work with our company. I said, but I already have my own company, but I work in the city, but I really work from home because I work short sales. I'm just like negotiating deals with the banks. So he kept pushing, pushing. I met with his broker and we totally fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, she was super awesome, great experience. And that showed me this market up here. And then I was like, wait a minute, it was kind of distressed at the time. But what I loved is that everybody was so determined to be a homeowner. I've never seen anything like it. They were just so ambitious, and the odds were stacked against them, according to what I was told. And it got me into a different gear. So what I did was I started asking around and finding a person who was good with doing mortgages, found a person that was good with doing credit repair. Shout out to Sean Moody, my brother. And I put together what's called a dream team. And we went to churches in neighborhoods that were distressed. And we did seminars. We educated the people that went to the church, the members that were actually interested in becoming homeowners, that were discouraged and felt they were like pushed out and no one was going to take the time to show them homes. And we turned that all around. And then my name just blew up behind that. I turned a lot of people into homeowners and they became my family up here.
And that is awesome, man.
Family. What do you say?
I said that is awesome. Like, where you were able to find kind of something like a niche per se in the market where these this demographic wasn't getting the help that they should, and you're able to correct that. So that is awesome. That's a really a great opportunity for agents now to kind of check out their market, see where they can kind of make a difference in, really. And we can make a difference and keep those bridges up. You never know who it's going to connect this to, friends and family, and so that's really awesome. That's
just to add on to that. Now it's funny you say that you actually honed in on that, because people weren't dealing with people with a score lower than like say 660. I was going down to even 500 because the loan officer, the bank that we were dealing with at the time, he could help people with a 500 credit score. So that whole population of people that were being unnoticed now came to me.
Absolutely.
The word got around.
And I can speak from being a younger person myself that having that help. Thankfully, my credit score is pretty good. But I know friends, family, and friends I grew up with. That having that help, having that option. Maybe we're having or making the we have the money to do so, but we haven't had the history or we haven't had the length of credit to be able to get involved in a house. So having someone really show you the ropes, and even if we aren't able to necessarily get in, knowing what we have to do to be able to get in, it can be huge for a buyer. Having a goal to set and really knowing that someone's here to help as well. It goes a long way.
And one thing that I'm really a stickler about is that I love to answer questions. If a client's not asking questions, they're not fully engaged or understanding, because a lot of realtors and even people within their profession, they tend to forget what it was like when they were learning or their first day, how nervous or how overwhelmed. They kind of take for granted that's what they do for a living, that they can just explain in one sentence. You're supposed to get it and understand and be an autopilot from there. No, it needs to be an experience to remember. It's already daunting in certain aspects. It's already challenging in other aspects, but it needs to really be something that they feel they have the support. You know what I mean? And it also helps that I have the financing background. So even when they're loan officers speaking to them and they're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what this means. Then I'm there to kind of interpret as well. So it's like that even made them, that offered even more comfort and created lasting relationships for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that way they don't think their loan officer speaking French to them, you know, they can understand.
Yeah. They're intimidated to ask questions. They're figuring like, okay, he's explaining to me, I should understand this.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
how could you? You know?
Yeah, especially if you've never been through the process. You know,
Yeah.
can't blame them. But yeah, always hey, asking questions. That's the number one way to you know learn what we
You
and
know what
how we
someone's
need to grow.
thinking. How do you know what someone's thinking if they don't ask a question? You're like, wait a minute, that's what you thought I meant? I didn't mean that. You know?
Absolutely.
How do you
Yeah.
know?
No, hey, I'm sorry. I couldn't agree with you more. On the agent attraction side of things, kind of dive into the recruiting side. Do you do anything right now to help you recruit, help you, you know, get the word out there that, you know, we're adding agents into the brokerage there?
Well, it's funny because I'm in the process of revamping. I want to probably take down another or pick up, not take down, pick up another state or two. I have some ideas for like the springtime. I may start doing some different things. I'm kind of massaging different concepts and ideas because, again, people have come to me. There's 4 other people that are newbies that want to join. And I'm like, so it's always someone coming to me, feeling inspired by me that want to join, that encourages me to say, okay, I'll take people on because, you know, that's not really anything that I was thinking that I was going to do or even continue to do. But it seems like it keeps on, you know, rebuilding itself or, you know, revamping somehow. So it's like I have 4 more people that actually want to join.
Oh, that's awesome. And so what are kind of the plans with them? Are you going to bring them on? Are you thinking about kind of, you know, holding off, wait until like the springtime, like you said?
Well, they're just starting their course. So springtime would
So
actually
just
be
getting their
spot.
I guess you're just getting their licenses and everything set
Yeah,
up.
so that's kind of why springtime would be like, okay, if I'm going to pull the trigger, let's go. But I want to do it right. I want to do it differently. The only problem is that newbies really feel that they have to have all of this instructions and handheld, and the hand holding thing is not really the way you're going to make the money in this business.
Right.
It's first identifying their fear. And what's the fear? The fear is, okay, I don't think I'm going to be good at it. I explain to people all day long, okay, if you live somewhere or even live somewhere at some point, you're doing the same thing a realtor's doing. You open a door, you walk through a house, you know, there's a
Yeah.
bathroom, you know, there's a bedroom. You're just walking through with someone alongside of you, and you both are looking at it together. You may have an information sheet that can give you some little, you know, bullet captions about the
Yeah,
product.
some specifics. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's all it basically is. So I like to simplify things because fear is what holds people back and creates obstacles that are not really there. It's, you know, it's all a facade. So I try to get them past that measure. And if you're just driven, then you'd be like, wait a minute, this is it? I did it? It's like, yeah, I'll be there to guide you with the forms and stuff like that. And that's not even that intricate. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's as simple as just meeting meet a lot of good people. And they're serious, and you're helping to change their life. You're very important to them, and they should be very important to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know earlier you mentioned, you know, bringing on some part-time agents before, and then now kind of getting into the newbies. Have you ever brought in anyone that's, you know, been in the industry, maybe someone that you worked with in the past, you know, done some deals with maybe on the buyer seller side, anything like that?
I would love that. No, I just even with my clientele, I am like a magnet for first-time home buyers. I rarely, in my career, rarely get seasoned buyers. I may get seasoned investors here and there, but the majority of my clientele, 98.5, is first-time home buyers. Everyone's like, no, go to Karen. She's going to take care of you. She's going to guide you. She's going to explain to you. And that's became my niche without me knowing it or realizing it.
Well, hey, that's awesome. And yeah, one, if someone buys the first time, more than likely they'll buy a second time or third time as well. So that's awesome. Getting them, you know, being the first contact and showing them the ropes, you know, essentially.
Yeah.
That goes a long way, especially I know on the agent side. I mean, you know, being able to
They'll never
really
forget me. They'll never forget
everything and yeah, showing them the ropes, you know, goes a long way because they'll always remember. just kind of like how you mentioned, and I forget the name specifically, I apologize, that you give a shout out to, one of the first guys that kind of, helped, get you started and had you sit down with his broker there. I'm sure a lot of people have a similar story about you. I'm sure that, this is the same thing about Karen getting them, set up on their first home, or kind of getting them, help set up on their license. So that definitely goes a long way.
You know what? It's so funny to segue a bit. I got married again the February 14th last year up here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And what's so funny is that the majority of my guests, well, it was virtual and in person, but the people who we invited, because most of my family is out of state and down in the city and so forth. There's no one up here. Just my friends have become family, which were customers first, then friends, now they're family. So it was basically all my customers there at the wedding. And it's so funny you say that, because my dad came up and he was speaking to the guest and stuff and he couldn't believe. He was like, wait a minute, you got all these people, they're home. And he said, they were speaking so highly of you. And it really warmed my heart, because I wasn't even, I don't look for that. I wasn't thinking of that, but they were really outpouring to my dad. Like, they were looking to speak to my dad, to let my dad know how I changed their lives and how much I meant to them. And it meant a lot.
Let him know what a good job he did with you, right? That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, and having just that, that community, having, people that are willing to, show up, come, they want to see you on, one of the biggest stages.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And having that support goes a long way when we take steps into, like, I'm sure when we took our first step into real estate, having some support, having that backing can definitely be huge. Just to give a little bit for the listener that maybe is, similar to where you were at, a decade ago or so, what would be, your advice to someone that's just getting started as an agent, looking to be a broker one day? What advice would you give them?
Well, it's just a matter of how dedicated are you looking to be, because no matter what you're looking to be, the formula remains the same.
Absolutely.
It's dedication, identifying why you wish to do it first and foremost. Money can't be the beginning. That could be the middle or the end, but that can't be the sole reason, because you don't lose in anything that you do. You gain experience. So there's no losses. It's an illusion, right? So even if you go into a real estate company, a firm, and you decide this is not the right fit, there's so many to choose from. You can almost interview them and decide, well, hey, do I need my hand held? Do I need someone to kind of give me leads? You can almost just be clear with what you're looking for and what you think that you need. But at this stage, if you're over 18, you kind of know how best do you gel with people? How best do you learn? What are your weaknesses? Or get into all of that, and then try to find the firm that can actually do it. Because we can be anything. We could definitely be a realtor. You can definitely be a realtor. There's nothing really difficult about it, especially if your passion is there. Oops. Oh, sorry. Your passion is there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Lots going on over here.
Well, in kind of in closing too, I'll have you, shout out anywhere the people can find you as well after. But for the future for you, 2 to 3 years down the line, where would you like to see yourself? Where would you like to see the business then?
Well, in a perfect world, I think I'm going to go back to concepts that I thought of 5 years ago and kind of revamp that, because I didn't see it through, to franchise it, create a model that would be realistic. I don't want to be like a gimmicky kind of brokerage where I just say whatever sounds good just to get people in, and then the turnover is massive. I would like to ultimately have a good manager that can manage the business and handle those questions or whatever, so I can franchise. I want to create a really ironclad model template, so therefore I can just have that conveyor belt in place. And really, I have to really give to people to really get something from it. It's more here before it becomes here for me. So I got to make sure that it's something that enriches, and especially with these younger people. I mean, you guys are the generation that, there's like 2 generations underneath me now. Like, I mean, I could have grandkids that are starting real estate now. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's layers underneath that I want to really give back to and pass the baton to, but I have to do it right. I need the right team.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey, and you guys heard it here. If you're looking for get started in real estate, you're already in real estate, and you're just looking for a happy home. I definitely reach out to Karen here. Karen, where can they find you on any social media?
Okay.
Anywhere, email,
Well,
anything?
the social media, they may find me on the finance side because I've been a little like shy with the real estate because the real estate's kind of doing its thing. Like my name has been like casted out there like that. But I will throw my phone number out there because I'm not shy. Okay. My phone number is area code 718-971-4111 or 833. It's a toll-free number. Kander, Kander, number one.
Hey, love it, love it. We'll make sure to link it down below as well, in the comments there, so you can find any or we'll call her, give her a quick shout, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about her or anything that maybe we didn't cover on the podcast here today. But it's great. I really appreciate you coming out and spending some time with me today with the Scaling podcast. And I'm glad that we have people like yourself in the real estate industry. So I thank you for that as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you and everybody else.
Yeah, of course.